What is happening? Thanks for coming back for another edition of the Horror Debate. We've got a good one for you this week. It's called The Final. I am Jeff Rowdy Jake here, and he is Michael Mandy.
And this week we're going to start doing another batch of the Lionsgate 8 Films to Die For. We kind of missed this year, so we're going back and doing the year we missed.
Well, it was like we did a series after this, though.
Right.
This is like a year ago.
This
right?
was 2010.
Oh, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
We skipped this year for some reason.
Yeah, well, here it is. The Final.
After Dark Horrorfest 4.
And we worry a little bit, going just from prior experiences when we go into these 8 films, because some of them may be to die for and some may be to cry over.
And some of them you wish you were dying.
We've had various experiences here with these, but I'm kind of glad to say The Final didn't bore me. This is good stuff. This is revenge like squared.
Well, it's kind of almost like a Saw or a Hostel kind of torture film. And it's funny, while I was watching this, I was going, gee, didn't this genre die a couple of years ago?
Wait a minute.
But then I went, wait a second, this is 2010.
Yeah, so it's not like Saw, really. I mean, this is a revenge deal.
It's
where
not like Saw.
Kids are getting bullied at school by all the preppy kids, and they decide to take matters into their own hands, throw a party to where they can drug them, get them all tied up, and torture them.
But it's not, what you're saying, it's not like Saw.
Well,
you either chop his finger off or he chops yours.
Just because it's a torture film doesn't mean it has to be like Saw, which of course was one of the torture films that came out originally.
Right.
I don't really see a lot of parallels besides the fact that it's a torture film.
In terms of, they have the choice. Either you chop his fingers off or he's going to chop your fingers off.
Yeah, but there's not like a voice coming from the wall saying you either do it or,
No, the voice is from the kid in the My Bloody Valentine mask.
Exactly.
Thank God he didn't have the same voice
as Bane. It's not really like Saw, though.
No.
I mean, it's not.
No, but I just meant in terms of you have the choice. Either you torture someone or they'll torture you. And thank God his overdubbed voice wasn't as bad as Bane. And isn't that crazy? $140 million film can't get an overdubbed voice right, but this little $1 million thing can.
Yeah, and it was done really well, I thought. Here's the thing. When you're doing these films that are based around, getting to dislike a bunch of characters or getting to feel for a bunch of characters, there are a number of things you have to do right. You have to garner the feeling of, I feel sorry for that person, or I feel sorry for that group of people. This film did that correctly.
Yeah, you didn't feel sorry for them at all. They were snots to begin with.
Well, no, I'm talking about the kids that were getting bullied.
Oh,
I mean, it was effective in feeling that way towards him. It was also effective in feeling hate towards the antagonists.
Right.
So they did a good job there. I thought the whole thing was pretty effective. I didn't sit there and snicker or sneer at much in this film.
I thought they did take their dear sweet time, though.
Yeah, it was a little drawn out.
Once you knew what was going on and they captured
lots of talking.
A lot of talk. There's more talk than action in this film. There is a little bit of action, but
and sometimes they do that to kind of lead up to it to get the tension up, but I thought it went too long.
Yeah.
There was a little bit too much of it.
Yeah, too much kneeling and getting really close to the person, so their noses were almost touching to get in a nice tight shot on the framing of the camera.
Now these people are tied; they're handcuffed
and chained up.
But that wouldn't stop them from throwing a nice strong headbutt at somebody. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking. When the guy got real close, I was like, oh, he's going to take that, because there was a choice of cutting fingers off. Either I cut your fingers off, or he has to cut my fingers off, right? So.
I'll cut yours.
Yeah, and I was sitting there thinking, you know what? He could throw a stiff headbutt. He could take those shears and kind of poke.
These kids.
There were defenses there.
Yeah, these kids. I would have, when you're a teenager and you're full of testosterone, especially in front of hot chicks who are also tied up, your testosterone's gonna pump up. Okay, if this dude's got a rifle pointed at me, I'm gonna at least take one of you out with me.
Right.
And nobody did that. They all just sat down and went, okay, you're right.
Yeah, the big jocks turned into a bunch of wusses, basically. And, that's...
They usually do.
Crying and they're on the shoulder of...
But nobody stood up and said, hey, wait a... I would have said, like I even told you when we were watching this film, they're all chained up, and he says, "We're going to torture you," and and everyone just sat down and were so super obedient.
Well, I would have liked... the guy who asked to leave, when he said, "Does anybody want to leave?" and the guy actually spoke up and said, "I want to leave." I thought that was the most heroic thing that anybody did on that side.
Right, but I meant in terms of aggression towards the people.
Oh, there's not going to be any aggression. They're armed to the teeth. I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I know, but that's what I would have liked when they first started out. You're all here. What are you talking about, dude? Bam, down.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any problems with us? Sit down and be obedient.
Right.
Then everyone would have gotten the message. Okay, so now when they're chopping fingers off, everyone's just sitting there waiting for their turn.
Well, these are kids. Yeah. These are kids. I don't know that maybe kids would even do that. They would try to cry and snivel their way out of it. And which is exactly what they did.
Yeah.
So we were talking about...
I just was saying there were so many of them. There was 10 kids there.
Well, we were talking about the director of this film, right? I mean, this is like one of his very first feature films.
He was a first assistant director on a lot of other films. So let's see. What's his name again?
I have no idea.
Joey Stewart.
Okay.
So he knows he knows how to make a movie.
Well, yeah.
He's been around enough times.
As far as...
And you could tell.
If you're ranking this up on the 8 films to die for, the After Dark, films list, if you include everything we've seen, this is probably up there in maybe the top 5 or 6.
Yeah, this is one of the better made films because I believe Joey's been making movies. Joey. He's been making movies for a while. Yeah. And films and commercials and things like that. A lot of these 8 films to die for are just kids out of high school with a video camera.
Yeah. Well, I was impressed. Yeah. I wasn't expecting what I got. Very good. It's kind of weird. I'm sitting here looking at the cover to this thing. And is that somebody sitting at a desk with an afro? I mean, what is that?
That's what you said.
What is it? Looks like they got a fro. I mean, how does that relate to what we saw?
Yeah.
The art really isn't...
Well, because the original picture of it, I'm sure people were saying, was too much in reference to Columbine.
That's what I figured, yeah.
See?
Yeah. Oh, wow, look at the original art. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's got the 3 of the antagonists with their masks on.
Holding high-powered weaponry.
And with chicks laying on the floor with tight shirts on.
Crying.
Yeah.
That's a little graphic.
I wonder if Walmart would carry that.
Well, oh, heck no. And plus also, remember, this was 2 years ago. Columbine was a little closer in the memories.
Columbine was way back.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
way back.
I know, but I'm just saying.
If 2 years makes a difference, I don't know, man. That was way back. I don't know. But there's been other incidents.
What a difference a day makes.
What a difference a day.
Just 24 little hours.
There's been similar incidents, I guess, that not as deadly, but there has been other attempts and things. So I mean, it's a sensitive subject, no doubt.
Man, I lofted that up. You didn't sing.
Oh, no. What a difference a day makes?
Yeah.
No, come on. You got to give me something better than that. But overall, I think this hit the mark. I think it did what it set out to do. Wasn't perfect. It dragged a little bit, but overall.
Yeah, and did you catch the audition reference?
Yeah.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty,
yes,
kitty, kitty.
Yes, and it was very similar to a scene in Audition, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
And she even had her hands together and did the bow just like it. I was like, okay.
A little nod to...
Director saw Audition there.
Yeah. All right, Mikey. So what do you think, man? I mean, sum this all up. What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking it's a well-made film. Like we said, we pretty much talked it all of its good points and bad points. It's a good 3-star movie.
I think so. I think that's exactly what I was thinking was 3 stars.
Little talky.
Well, it's a lot talky when he's first introducing him and his group to the jocks and whatever. It took a while. I thought he was going to get up there and tell them, basically this is who we are, this is what we're going to do to you, and we were going to get some stuff going.
Right. But then he starts getting into philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm just going,
went pretty deep. I heard Mike breathe. He went, just cut something off already,
Get going.
Yeah, so, I'm going to give it 3 stars as well. I mean, definitely something better than what I expected.
All right, I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. We'll talk to you next week when we do another of these 8 films to die for
at the Horror Debate.